Hey guys, Mr. Schlosser here. This is bonus video number 1. So some of you are going to be interested in it, some of you are not going to care. The bottom line is it's a bonus video, and with these bonus videos what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take a minute to show you something that is math that happens every day in the real world. Okay, this one's a little bit of physics too. But what I'm about to tell you pertains to fishing reels. Okay, so here's a casting reel. This is a Shimano Curado. Here's another casting reel. Here's a bunch more casting reels. These ones are great, okay? Over here, we have another casting reel. Here's a spinning reel. A little different setup, okay? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare this spinning reel. This is a Pflueger spinning reel. I'm gonna compare this one to one of my bait casting reels. Let's just take the one that I have in my hand, okay? So, this reel is a Quantum Accurist S3. It has a gear ratio of 7.0 to 1. That's a really interesting number, okay? That's a really important number to know. This reel has a gear ratio of 5.4 to 1. I wish I knew those off the back of my hand. The bottom line is I have a ton of reels and I kind of forget what reel pertains to what. So why would you want different gear ratios? I'm going to show you why, okay? So if I look at this, my gear ratio is a direct relationship to how much line I turn with a crank of this handle. So right here, I'm going to get this on the ground. And I'm going to show you that when I turn this handle one full time, I just picked up about 25 inches of line, maybe 26 inches of line. Pretty cool. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my spinning rod. Okay, I'm going to set my jig on the ground, and I'm going to reel one full turn of the handle. What did you notice? This jig is much closer to the ground. I spun the handle one time on both of them, but the difference is this jig was about 40% higher off the ground than the other jig, even though they started in the same place. With one turn of the handle, this jig went up more than this jig. That's because of something called gear ratio. You can see I wrote it down right there. I'm not going to take a bunch of time and get into the very nitty-gritty specifics of what exactly a gear ratio does and why it's important in fishing. But what I am going to tell you is that it's a mathematical concept that I use all the time when I'm thinking about fishing and how to present a bait. So, for instance, this 5.4 to 1 gear ratio reel, I know that I'm going to move the bait less as I reel. So it's going to move slower. Now, I have more torque. That's the physics involved in this, is because lower gear ratio reels have more torque than higher gear ratio reels. However, I move more line with a higher gear ratio reel. So it kind of all plays into speed versus torque, and I'm not going to get into that argument with you, but I want you to understand that ratios, hold on, this is important, ratios are rates. They're fractions, they're division bars, just like we've talked about before. This is 7.3 to 1. We could also express that in a million different ways, but what you need to know is that ratios and rates are important, not just in everyday life, but in math, and in this case in fishing. And hope you enjoyed bonus video number 1. Talk to you guys later.